Hi love, it's Nevo, and yes, you are on the right channel. This is the same channel you subscribe to. I recently got a massive influx of people subscribing to me after my Pleasant View renovation video of Don's condo, which is interesting because I wasn't expecting that video to do as well as it did. So if you're a subscriber from them, thank you so much. And if you've been with me from the start, don't worry, I do recognize people that have been here from day one, so don't worry about that. I'm appreciative of everyone that has hit that button. Oh my god, one thing I wish The Sims 2 could do that The Sims 3, the later games did, is the fact that you can click and drag walls. I had to do a bunch of finagling to make the Almshouse look the way that I wanted it to, which is very annoying. If I could literally just drag and make a room just one tile bigger, that would be perfect for me. I hate the room system in The Sims 4. I have built in The Sims 4 and it's not as nice as people say it is. Maybe it's because I'm used to The Sims 2, but building in The Sims 4 is a bit difficult at times because it doesn't let you do very specific things, which is very annoying. Okay, so onto what's on the actual screen. Right now, I'm building an almshouse for my Build a City challenge, the new residents that have just moved in. I'll probably make a massive video elaborating and explaining the Build a City challenge rules and the challenge in general in more detail. But just for now, know that there's a lot of rules and stipulations, and you need to earn Sims with community lots, and you have to buy community lots with taxes, and it's a whole thing. I have a BACC and it's set. Actually, even though it looks like it's set in the past, it's actually set in the future after a nuclear apocalypse. And so I decided for a Victorian theme because I think it looks cool. And also I decided on primarily Cherokee Native American influences, but this family in particular isn't Native American and doesn't have anything to do with that. It's kind of a random grab bag of whatever I find cool and I slam it in there. There's cowboys, there's yeehaw, there's Victorians, there's steampunk in there because I like steampunk and I think it looks cool. It's literally just whatever I think looks interesting. It's in there. I knew I wanted the roofs to be on separate levels, not separate, to look like they're on separate levels, and so that was a lot. But it felt like it took years of my life. It really took years of my life to make it look the way I wanted it to. But once I did, I was very proud of myself. So. This building was based off of an almshouse I saw, not in person, like a picture, but for the life of me, I can't figure out whether it was a Sims almshouse or a real life one, or maybe a Sims one based off of a real life one. I'm telling you, it's been ages since I built this build. I'm tempted to say it was one based off of a real life almshouse because of the constraint 4 elevation stuff that I did. No shade to the Simmers out there, but I feel like most people wouldn't try and use CFE unless they had a clear vision of what they wanted. And so I feel like it was an almshouse I saw in real life. If I do find it, I'll put a picture up or something, I don't know. Yeah, oh my god, an almshouse is a place where religious folk live. I'm pretty sure it's where priests and nuns live. So it makes sense for, Father Soraya, him being a priest, allegedly. I'm not sure if he's actually been ordained by God. Plus, he's kind of an abomination because he's a vampire, right? So I don't think a vampire being a priest makes much too sense. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, almshouses are places where religious people live, and it makes sense for Father Soraya to live in an almshouse, but kind of, sort of, because he kind of just lives in the barn in the basement, and then the others live in the dorms upstairs. But I thought exterior wise it makes sense. Yeah, this constraint floor elevation, I know in my last video I said that I really wanted to get acquainted with constraint floor elevation, but oh my goodness, it's so difficult to get used to. That's one thing, because I obviously want to get better at building. I feel like it's just a thing that I enjoy doing a lot. It's an art form for me, and like any art form that I engage in, anything in general that I do, I just want to be the best I can be. I see lots of other really good builders and I'm like, okay, I want to be like that. And so I want to be able to use CFE in a really cool and interesting way. Well, this was, oh, it was, CFE was making me its bitch, I'm telling you.
The dreams.
Oh my god, these details that I'm adding, the stone pillars, I found out they're called buttresses. You see them a lot on like churches. You see them on churches. I don't know where else you'd see them. Maybe a castle. I don't visit many castles, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But you see them a lot in churches and cathedrals. So these buttresses are from medieval smithy on Blogspot, which is very, very cool. I might actually repositor these to Boogie Boo's Nooks and Niches just so I can have way more recolors of them that kind of like match and fit. I do like the original recolors already. The original recolors are like really pretty and I like them a lot. However, if I could have more sandstone-y recolors, my BACC is in a desert and it's like cowboy themed, so I would like more recolors of that. I just need to learn how to make CC and I've been putting that off forever. If you are familiar with The Sims 2 PSP, you'll see the kind name and be like, this looks awfully familiar. That's because there was a cult in the Sims 2 PSP, I think it's the PSP version, called the Kind Society. Yeah, that's Kind Society. And pretty much they worship this cow deity called Beelzebub. But like Beelzebub was like actually real. So like, does that classify as a cult? Is it a cult kind of like built up on like false premises and stuff that isn't real? Anyway, whatever. But the way they go about things is kind of strange. They like worship this cow deity and it's like a whole thing. But I just thought to myself that in my mind I knew for certain in the town that I wanted butchers or people who raised cattle. And I went back and forth with multiple different kinds of families in my mind. I was just thinking of having like a normal family, like a nuclear family with like 2 parents, children and a dog, raising a child and like having cattle and their nice little home. But I was like, because I know me and I know I would get very, very bored with that. So I was just going back and forth on how to make it interesting, and I not settled, but I just suddenly remembered the Kind family and how their whole thing was cows. And so I just compiled all the cow CC that I have and started just creating the storyline, which I don't know, my mind works in mysterious ways, but I am very excited to start playing as them because I think it's going to be quite cool and interesting to see their dynamic in play. So let's introduce the Kinds. The leader, the figurehead, is Father Soraya Kind, and his primary aspiration is popularity. Well, he wants to be public enemy, so he wants to be hated by everyone. Then his secondary is evil scientist, so he wants to just experiment on Sims and see what kind of fucked up things he can do to people. I'm guessing he probably wants to turn people into vampires and, well, he does. No, in fact, I don't think he wants to turn people into vampires. I take that back because in this universe or in my BACC, what I'm playing as right now, vampires love having power and they love being coveted and followed and having followings. And so I think it's just in their nature to want that and to siphon the energy off of people. And so Father Soraya, and right now anyway, he's enjoying being the only vampire in town, and he's enjoying having these two attractive women who have like kind of threw away their lives to run away with him. So he's very, very happy that he has a consistent food supply and consistent money and just people who constantly sing his praises and say how amazing he is. So no, in fact, he doesn't want more vampires, but he probably does want to mess around with people, and he likes to see how people's minds work, and he's just a very manipulative kind of guy, which is, we love that for him. The next person is actually Jezebel Kine. Now, Jezebel, she is just typical romance sim. So her primary aspiration is just serial romances. She just loves sleeping with man, woman, everyone in between. Like, she loves it all. She wants to be with as many people as possible. Like, that's always been her. And her secondary aspiration is a hedonist. So she's a pleasure sim. And so she just loves feeling good. One of her traits is literally drunkard, so she loves a drink, she loves having a good time, having a party, having a ball. But she met Father Soraya at just some club, and she just knew that there was something different about this man. She couldn't really put it into words, but it was like love at first sight for her. She saw him and was just like smitten immediately. She just, everything about him was just so interesting to her. He'd lived for so long, he'd seen so many things, he had so much knowledge. And then obviously with cult initiation, she didn't really have much to lose. She's just a single woman with no kind of family. Because Father Soraya, he's a smart guy. He can kind of pick up on when people are thirsty for attention. I think he kind of sees a lot of himself in those kinds of people. He himself is very thirsty for attention, being a vampire. So he knows his kind when he sees it. And so he knew that she wanted attention, and he was willing to give her that attention as long as she moved in with him and did all these things for him and, worship this cow deity, as you do, what can you do? A really attractive man at a party worships a cow, and you're just so in love with him. You just move in with him. You don't think twice about it. So Jezebel, she kind of just moved in. She's a bit on the sloppy side. She loves being out in the mud and playing with the cows and really getting stuck in there. So Jezebel's really been enjoying this life where she doesn't have to work. She has a roof over her head, a place to sleep, company all the time, and the attention of Father Soraya whenever she wants. Now, Keturah is she isn't the same as Jezebel in any kind of way, whereas Jezebel is a very outgoing kind of woman to be seen and likes to flirt with people and likes people to know that she's there. Keturah is very much likes to keep to herself, loves to stay inside, loves to read books, and because of that, she is kind of lonely and doesn't really get much interaction with people. And the time she does leave her house, she really tries to stay out of trouble, stay out the way. And I think Father Soraya just saw how she acts and how much she avoids human interaction and knew that, okay, this is a very lonely person. She is very much willing to come worship these cows with me. So that's how he kind of got her initiated into the cult. Now her primary aspiration, she's a modest enjoyer, so she is a pleasure sim, but she doesn't obviously want to get like smashed like Jezebel does. She just likes to, read some nice book, do some nice things, enjoy life, live life one day at a time. And then she's a hopeless romantic, so she really wants to fall in love. And I'm not sure whether her and Father Soraya will have anything going on in the future. I think for me, Father Soraya knows that he can keep stringing her along, but he's not sure how long he can do that for, because obviously humans don't live as long as he does. He can keep doing this forever. Like he doesn't mind, but he wants to make sure that she's going to stay with him for as long as possible. And to be honest, Father Soraya has 2 bolts with Jezebel, but only 1 bolt with Keturah, so that would be quite interesting. In my mind, Keturah is Father Soraya's favorite because she's just so easily malleable, and also because I think one of her traits is that she's weak constitution. She's just a weak, feeble-bodied kind of woman. She gets sick quite easily, and so it's very easy for him to dote on her because she's just so cute, she's so adorable. But yeah, that is the Kine family. I actually built this quite a while ago. I built this ages ago, and I was having some issues because I downloaded too much CC. My game was ping flashing a lot, and it was just in general a nightmare. So I just didn't want to think about it. So I didn't. I just left the game, and then that's when I switched to renovating Pleasant View, and I've done a bunch of houses. And then I went through my downloads folder and just purged some things that I wasn't using, and just actually I genuinely actually sorted it. So now most of it is sorted. I do have one folder that's called Sort Properly that has like 400 files in it that I need to go through and actually sort them. But if you saw the state that my downloads folder was in prior, you would be scared. It was very, very scary. So I'm proud of myself. Pat on the back. This floor plan, I'm telling you, this floor plan was the bane of my existence. I feel like I say this every single speed build. I am not good at floor plans. I am only good at exteriors. Exteriors are like the one thing that I can do. Decorating, I'm not sure I'm the best at that either. I mean, the things I decorate look alright, I guess. Like I don't feel strongly about the way I decorate. I feel like my exteriors are like chef's kiss. I'm trying to make those look as pretty as possible. Everything else is kind of up in the air, so the floor plan was difficult. Because this isn't my Pleasant View series, I just thought to myself, I don't think I'm going to include the floor plan because no one really cares to see that. It takes me forever to figure something out, and I don't want you to subject you to like 1 minute of just me figuring out what I'm doing. These windows were giving me a hard time. I never know what to do with windows. The front usually looks nice, the sides and the back don't. To be honest though, in real life, fronts of your house looks very nice, and if you go to the sides or the back, it's a mess. So I feel like I can give myself some leeway with that. But one of the main reasons why the window was giving me a bit of grief was because the walls that I had in like attic portion where the lodging or the place they stay was because those walls are like full height walls, and so the windows didn't want to place properly. I did use Numenor's custom walls, which you have to like install with Scriptorium, so I did use them, and then I could place the windows however I wanted. I did also have an issue with the doors, but then I used constrainable elevation on the doors to make the attic portion sloped. It is functional, which I was surprised by, kind of sort of not really. I knew that things were still accessible, and as long as it was a full sim height, then it was sound, and it was a full sim height, so sims can actually like use their bed and stuff, which I find really cool. And they can even like use the bathroom that's in the sloped area, which is very, very like, I didn't think that would work at all, but they can do that, so I'm very shocked. One cool thing about the CFE cheat on roofs is that if you've already placed a roof down and you want to edit the floor that it's sitting on, the roof will not move, which is amazing. My biggest fear, not biggest fear, that's an exaggeration, but one of my anxieties while building this lot was that when I placed the roof down and want to use CFE on the attic, that maybe things will like move around on the exterior of the build, but the roof just stayed the exact location it was. So that's really good for me to keep in mind next time when I play around with CFE. I did give them a dedicated praying room, so there's this decorative cowplant that I got off of Mother Sims, I think from Michelle, person that does all those recolors. So she had some decorative cowplants in various sizes, so I've got a tiny small one in the dining room, I've got this big one in the prayer room. I did place a decorative cowplant outside as well, but I did change that to an actual cowplant so they can like feed it and talk to it, because I have the cowplant mod by P Sims and I have some recolors by P Forest. We haven't recolored the cowplant though, so I might need to get them another cowplant to recolor that and have like different cowplants and stuff. I'm sure you can get like a male cowplant as well that doesn't do like the cake thing, but for me personally, what's the joy in having a cowplant if it doesn't do the cake thing? So yeah. But yeah, decorative cowplants, they're very, very cool. Oh god, talking about CC, I feel like I have so much custom content. I have so much, and the worst thing is I use the same sets every time I go to build something. I just use the same things because I know those things look good and they're gonna give me a result that I want, but I've been actively trying to fight the urge to use the same 5 sets over and over again. It's so difficult, it's so hard, but I'm trying my best. But for the Kind family, I really wanted a very Christian, Abrahamic looking religion aesthetic to it. So I did build a cathedral for the Kind family called it literally the Divine Bovine Cathedral. I think I'm so smart for that. I'm very excited to get them to buy that so they can have another wedding venue in the town. Now, there is a wedding venue, but that venue is kind of more for my Native American Sims, and not all my Sims in this town are going to be Native American. Some of them are going to be European or from different cultures, and so I kind of want something that's a bit more secular, even though it's literally going to be owned by a religious cult. So it's probably not secular, but when people picture weddings, they kind of have a set idea of what a wedding is going to look like: white dress, tuxedos, that kind of thing. I wanted a lot where I could have those kinds of celebrations happening because my Native American wedding venue, it's beautiful, it's pretty, I love it, but I feel like it's kind of inappropriate to have, I don't know, European Sims having a Native American wedding on that. Like, I don't know, it kind of gives me an vibe. So I want to build the cathedral, and I want them to have the cathedral. I'm very excited to show that off though, because there's a lot of detail in it, and I'm very proud of how it's turned out. So I'm happy, I'm excited to show that. Yeah, a BACC, especially the rule set that I use, is kind of a remix of a rule set that I use Esoteria use, or is it Esoteria or Esoteria? And then their rules are a remix of Neferis's BACC, and Neferis's is an offshoot of someone else's. It's like a game of telephone. The rule set that I use is like a game of telephone, pretty much. I will have my Tumblr linked down below, and my BACC will also be linked down below. It's literally linked in all my videos, but I'll have that link down below and you can go through, read the rules. I am warning you now, there are a lot of rules. You don't have to read them all. I don't even know them all off the top of my head. Like, I can't. If you ask me to name a random rule from my BACC, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I have a massive rule set and I have an Excel sheet that kind of does the rules for me. I promise you, I'm going to make that BACC video. Now that I'm saying it, it's out in the air. I'm saying it to someone. I promise you, if that video is going to be made, I'm going to explain the BACC. But I just want to get to a place in my own BACC where I'm proud to share it off. Not in a, oh, there's not much going on, but like, no shade, there's actually not much going on in my BACC. I say that as if there's literally there's one family in my BACC that like every single round I've played with her has been absolute peril. Kids got taken away from her. She got turned into a werewolf. She went to prison. Like, she's going through it. So I'm saying that, but there are Sims who have had the worst time ever. But I mean, in general, the town as a whole, I don't feel like there's much going on. There's not much to show off. So when I get to like 10, 15 households, then I'll show off my BACC. I'll show off all the community lots and everything that I've gotten to so far. But for now, you're just gonna have to hear me talk about how amazing my BACC is and how you should go to my Tumblr and read it, because I'm very proud of it. This is the stupidest mistake I've ever made, ever in my life. I built this barn, right? And I wanted it to be on a one-step foundation because me thinking like it's The Sims 3 and how one-step foundations are a thing you can do. I was like, oh, why would it be different for The Sims 2? Because I'm a idiot for some reason who like forgets that The Sims 2 has like really stupid limitations. And so I did this one-step foundation with a no-slope basement. Catherine TJCD has a really, really good tutorial on grid adjuster and how to use that. I used that. I did the barn. My Sims cannot access this barn because they need a minimum of 2 steps to get onto any platform. Onto any foundation, it needs to be a minimum of 2 steps. I did 1 step. So every time I play, I need to teleport my Sims into the barn so that he can like go downstairs into the basement and like sleep and stuff. I mean, it's great if you don't want Sims to sneak into Father Soraya's quarters. I guess that's great. We could also just lock the door. So I need to go back into grid adjuster and adjust it up just 1 click, literally just 1 click, just so they can use that and have it function properly. But that is going to be very annoying. I got from, I think it was the medieval, what was it? Was it it's not the medieval Plum Bob. The Plum Bob Keep. Yeah, the Plum Bob Keep. I'm pretty sure I got it from there. Most of my CC is, if it's not from Tumblr, it's from the Plum Bob Keep in this not safe out, in this neighborhood anyway. It's probably from the Plum Bob Keep or like a couple stragglers here and there. But yeah, I preferred the new oven after I switched it out. Call me insane, call me crazy, call me unhinged even. I did not like any of the fireplaces that I had. I wasn't vibing with any of them. So I made my own custom fireplace with Boogieboos, Nooks and Niches. In my last video, someone said that they liked how creative I was with Boogieboos, Nooks and Niches. And it's like I took that as a challenge. I was like, oh really? You ain't seen nothing yet? And I just made a whole fireplace. So that is very interesting. Because I reworked my downloads folder, I had to rebuild the fireplace, which wasn't fun because, as you can see in the video, it was like a lot of finagling and placing things in exact locations, and it wasn't fun. But yeah, I really like this fireplace. It really brings the whole place together, and it feels like it's really set into the house, or like it feels very unique to it. It feels built in. It just really feels like it's cemented itself into the house. So I like that I've spent the time to do that and to make it look like its own thing. I used a couple of reference images on Pinterest just so I kind of had an idea on what the vibe was and what I wanted it to look like. Well, I'm very proud of this fireplace. I'm very proud of it. As much as I love my BACC, it does kind of break my heart that clashes all the time. There are always so many issues with it, and I need to go through and really sort through all the CC that I have for it and really like get down to the nitty gritty of what I really do need. Maybe get rid of like a gigabyte or something like that. But oh my god, I just don't have the time to do that. Like I'm lying. I probably do. I feel like if I set the time up to do that, I probably do have enough time for it. But I think what it is for me as well is that even if I do, cut down the CC I use, my laptop just isn't built for gaming. So even if I was to play the game completely vanilla, no CC, it would still crash because my laptop just doesn't like games or gaming whatsoever. I play me and my mate, we played Don't Starve together, and my laptop was even like jitter and have a couple of issues here and there with it. So even if I had the most cleanest, purest game ever, my laptop is still gonna freak out. So I kind of just giving up and just doing what I want right now. Bit onto the supernaturals of my BACC. Of course, in my modern gameplay, I kind of just play the vampires, the supernaturals as anyone else. Like, I don't really care about it. It's whatever. I think because I play Strange Town, it's just kind of normalized to be a freakazoid weirdo. Like, no one, if you're strange in Strange Town, no one's gonna be like, oh, what are you doing? You don't belong here. It's strangers in the name. Even Pleasant View with the vampire stuff, I haven't really gotten into much depth with that. I haven't, because it's just chill. It's just chill for me. My BACC, however, I view the universe in Grips Hillago. I haven't said the name of my BACC at all, but yeah, Grips Hillago is the name of my BACC, and in the universe of Grips Hillago, supernaturals aren't really seen favorably. People are kind of look at them with a bit of disdain. Because, right, the reason why, the nuclear fallout kind of inspired, there was like a big nuclear war or whatever, and there was like lots of bombs dropped, and it was very tragic and horrible. And so there were a lot of after effects of that. So people just assumed if you are a supernatural, that it has something to do with some kind of nuclear thing, like there's just something wrong with you genetically. And so they just look at, and not just plant sims, but just supernaturals in general with a lot of like pity and a bit of disdain, and sometimes a bit of caution depending on what kind of supernatural you are. Like if you're a zombie, it's like, oh dear, oh no, like oh no, like that's terrible. What's happened to you? Also, don't be near my children because I don't want them to, come infected with whatever zombie thing you've got going on. So zombies are very much like the lowest of the low. I'm gonna have a proper hierarchy set in mind, but yeah, witches are, out of all the supernaturals, witches are kind of seen a bit more favorably because all they do is like cast spells and stuff, and they're connected with nature. And so depending on what kind of spells you cast, what kind of witch you are, whether you're a good witch, evil witch, or like a neutral witch, is dependent on how people treat you. So the founder of my BACC, Ayazan, she is just a neutral witch. If you choose, you have to choose either a good witch or an evil witch to be a more powerful witch, but she's actively choosing not to choose either side and just be herself and cast whichever spells she deems fit. Some people look at her a bit, sideways because, they're a bit wary of her being a supernatural and that kind of thing. But Grips Hilago is very, very welcoming. Alataka, the sheriff, doesn't discriminate. Like, she doesn't really care about supernaturals at all. As long as, you pay your taxes and you're a functioning member of the town, she doesn't care what you get up to. Like, as long as you don't break any rules, she's fine with whatever. So she's very accepting of Ayazan, and they've kind of fell in love and had some children, which is very, very cute. Yeah, vampires are kind of closely behind witches because all they do is like build little cults and all that kind of stuff. Like, they're strange, they're weird, but people kind of just let vampires do their own thing because it's whatever. I feel like there are a couple of vampires that are in charge of towns and stuff and like to siphon people's energy off that way, but people can respect vampires because it doesn't seem to them that they're overrun by this constant need and urge to do violent, horrible things. They're more civilized, supernatural, and then directly below that, I feel like werewolves are kind of seen as like bad because they're not in control of when they transform. They just transform into werewolves or whatever, and that puts people on edge. People don't like the animalistic side of werewolves, and so they treat werewolves kind of bad. And so one of my BACC founding families has a werewolf, and he was kind of bitten as a child and was excommunicated from his town because people like, whoa, what the hell? This is weird. Why are you a beast now? And people just weren't vibing with that. So he moved to Grips Hillago, and he was adopted by some really nice guy who he was a criminal that was like doing a bunch of like tax evasion and like money crimes and like changed his he's got a whole thing going on. But yeah, and then at the very bottom, I would say, is zombies. Plant sims, I feel like people are okay with plant sims and witches are kind of in the same lane where they don't really have this overall need to consume or destroy, and they're not like hideous like zombies are. So people are okay with plant sims, but they're also the most aggressively supernatural looking supernaturals, and so people look at a plant sim and like, whoa, okay, you are strange, why are you green? Like, they're a bit like confused by that. But yeah, this has been a massive tangent on supernaturals. This is so random, but I rotated the cows so they could have more natural looking angles. Usually, of course, if you've built in The Sims 2, you will know that things can only be in a 45-degree or 90-degree angle, which most of the time when it's furniture, that's okay, I'm not really bothered. But when it comes to things like animals in a field aren't really at 90 or 45-degree angles. So I use Voicim's object rotator, and what that does is you place an object on it and like reset it a couple of times, and then it will rotate the object by 15 degrees or 10 degrees depending on which object rotator you get out of the catalog. What this does is makes it so that the object is rotated and there's not lots of loads of slots. You know that one object rotator everyone uses from like the Sims resource? I forgot the name of it, but I know you know which one I'm talking about, and it has all the slots in it, and you press M to like go through all the slots so you can like slowly turn something slightly by 5-degree increments. That is great. I love that, and if you love that, I love that for you. However, if you want to clutter something, it is an absolute nightmare to clutter something and that object is there. So if I want to place like a pen on a desk or a chair is, you know, precariously near the pen that I'm trying to place on the desk, I've got to go through like, I don't know, 50 slots before I can place this pen on the desk. Whereas Voicim's object rotator, you just place it on whatever, you get rid of the object rotator completely, and it's fine. And last thing is, if you're a no CC builder and you like to upload lots of no CC, the object rotator, once you've placed an object on it and did whatever you need to do and like got rid of it, the object will stay like that. So even if you have no mods in your game, the object rotator will rotate the object anyway. It's so good, and I don't know why more people don't use it, because I really want to get people onto it. Like it's amazing for builders. Is that it? I think that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video to the end. Of course, as always, all my socials are in the description down below. So my Tumblr's there. I never use Twitter. There's no point following me on that. My Discord server's also down there as well. I'm barely ever on Discord, but I'm going to try my hardest to actually be active in my Discord server. If you have any suggestions of things you want to see, let me know in the comments or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to wrap it up.